Welcome, dear audience, to another episode of Techcanvass interview series, where we bring you professionals all across the globe to inspire aspirants and to share their success stories. Hi, this is Sudipt, and I would be your host for today's session. Today, we have Jahnavi Gunnam, all the way from Tennessee, Nashville, and she has recently cleared her CBAP, which is Certified Business Analysis Professional certification from IIBA. Welcome, Jahnavi.
Thank you, Sudeep.
So the CBAP certification is considered to be pretty challenging certification to clear, but since Jahnavi has already cleared it, I'm sure we can deep dive with her and get to know some of her insights about the certification. So let's get rolling. Jahnavi, to start with and to help our audience to know you a little bit better, can you please tell us about your background prior to becoming a business analyst?
Sure. So like Sudeep mentioned, my name is Jahnavi Gunnam, and I have been a business analyst for about 7 years. I come from a master's background. I did my master's degree in information systems, and since then I've always known that I wanted to become a business analyst, and that was kind of my goal to start with for my career. And I looked for opportunities as a business analyst, and I worked as a consultant in Chicago for a couple of years with pharmaceutical companies, and then I moved to Nashville, where I got a full-time position at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, where I'm currently working. And I've grown from business analyst to right now I'm managing the Department of Business Analyst, so I'm a manager for the BA team here.
Oh, that's impressive, I must say. So when did you do your CBAP certification?
So I wrote my CBAP certification on October 26th, which was like not even less than 2 months ago.
Right.
Yes. So I've known that I wanted to do CBAP for a long time.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So, it would be of great help if our audience can understand why you wanted to go for CBAP and why did you decide to go for CBAP?
Sure. So, like I said, I always wanted to be a business analyst, and I try to keep up with up-to-date news regarding business analysis and what's new in the market regarding business analysis. And that's how I found out IIBA's website, in which we know that IIBA is internationally recognized. And in our organization, we follow IIBA's best practices, and all of our team members. We go to IIBA seminars and everything. That's how I kind of knew about CBAP certification, and we knew that it's the highest level of certification and which is internationally recognized, and all throughout the companies it's well known, and if we put it on our resume also, we like it's well known and well recognized that this is IIBA's certified business analysis professional. And like I said, it's the highest level of certification. So once I gained my experience, I knew that I wanted to get this over with.
Right, right. So, how did you plan for the, preparation of the certificate? You were working as well. So, how did you manage the preparation time and your existing workload?
So it took me a while to get used to having the CBAP preparation included in my schedule because of personal commitments and like you said, work schedule. I had a very busy work schedule, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So what I would do is when I first started my preparation, I wasn't very like serious and I didn't have a date in mind, but then that like took me forever to keep studying. So I was like, okay, let's make a plan. And then I schedule my exam first so I can get serious about it and start preparing for it. So that's when I started allocating time after work hours. Even with the personal commitments, I would take at least 1 hour a day to, go through the BABOK structure in the beginning, just to go through the BABOK structure and make plans of what I want to do this week and what I want to do next week and so forth. So that kind of helped me, and I would study on the weekends as well, spare a couple of hours at least. But basically 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours every day would, it really helped me in my preparation.
Right. That's quite understandable and relatable because I remember my days when I have done my certifications, all certifications for that matter. I have procrastinated the same way. I have never prepared seriously. and until unless I have booked my exam for a particular date, it never started. The preparation never started. So I can definitely relate to that story. So having said that, what would you consider the most challenging part of the preparation?
The most challenging part was definitely the preparation itself. And during the last few weeks of my exam, I had to allocate more time from my schedule because the exam was, it was approaching, and I didn't want to take a second pass at it. I just wanted to, pass on in the first try, and I didn't want to go through the preparation again. That was kind of the
Right.
main reason. But yeah, I mean, I thought the last few weeks of the preparation were challenging, and also like trying to memorize everything didn't work for me. I had to go through the BABOK guide and put everything on paper to connect the dots for to each knowledge area and how each knowledge area's inputs and outputs relate to each other. That kind of helped me a lot in avoiding to memorize and keep everything in my mind and connect the dots. So yeah.
Okay. So, now that we are gradually moving through the interview, and I'm getting to know your preparation better, I can completely understand why you would have chosen to become a business analyst. So, let me ask you this: after you have made the decision, were there any apprehensions that whether you will be able to do it or not, or at a point in time where you felt not so confident about taking up the certification? Did that ever happen to you?
Yes, a lot of times, I would say, because when we are going through BABOK guide, it's I wouldn't say it's confusing or anything, but we really need to get into the subject and connect the dots. If we miss connecting the dots somewhere, it's you cannot make a line, right? So I had those moments a lot of times, and I was like, what did I get into? What is this? And it was, but I but one thing I would say is the training classes really helped me, and our instructor was very helpful because I had so many questions, and I would every time I went through BABOK guide, I would write down all my questions and bring it up in the training class and get those answered. And he helped me connect the dots very well, like from the input and output and everything. And even my mock tests helped me. So the first time I took a mock test, I didn't score well, and I was very upset with my score, and I wasn't able to like function better that day. But I only thought that this is what should make me feel better, and this is what should make me improve, right? So then I went through the BABOK guide again. I think I studied the guide for about 3 to 4 times before I gave the exam. Everybody doesn't have to do that. It was just me because again, sometimes I'm like studying and then I get distracted by my son or something else, and I have to like yeah. I got distracted a lot of times, but I think the first time when I read through it, I got a pretty much good understanding of how everything is structured in BABOK guide. But the second time when I went through it, I felt like this was tough, but I still got through it because, again, like I said, writing on a paper and connecting the dots from the start to the end really helped me. Um, but I did have a lot of moments like that where I thought that I couldn't do it anymore, and I didn't know if I was going to pass. So the mock test, the training classes really helped me. And I took like I think I took training classes from two different I took one here and I took one from Techcanvass, and also mock tests I took some from Techcanvass and some from Watermark Learning, and through different companies too. So I didn't do just one, I did multiple to get my knowledge going and to get my mock tests better. So
Right, right. And this is important. I must say, I must tell all the aspirants that this is important that we um, divide our time between our personal commitments and between our preparation time. That helps a lot because
that,
there are multiple moments throughout the day when we get distracted, when we are not able to continue with our preparation. So it really helps when we have segregated our time between two equally important things at that point in time.
yes,
Right.
I definitely agree, Sudeep. And I think that having a dedicated time towards studying towards preparation is very much important, because in that 1 hour you're not like you're turning off everything, you're just not distracted in the workspace, and maybe you have like a designated area where you like sit and nobody's distracting you, and that 1 hour or half hour or something, that really helps. Yeah.
Right. Very true. Very true. So, can you tell us how much time did it take for you to complete the preparation?
Um, so like I said, when I first started preparing, I think I took my first training class back in May with a company here through, and my organization paid for it. So I took the training class in May, but from then I haven't been serious. Like I have been studying, but I was studying for, and I didn't have an exam date in mind. So I was just holding my book and trying to figure out where I should start, and that itself took me a long time. Then I started laying out a plan. So I would say the actual preparation time took about 1.5 2 months for me. And again, that's my allocation to towards studying and how much I could allocate. It could take lesser time for some people, and I've heard some of my friends who gave the exam, it took them about 1 month to 2 months to based on personal commitments. But and I've heard people who like cleared their exam after reading for like 2 weeks or so. So again, it depends on how well they can absorb the information, how well they can prepare, and how fast they can grasp everything and give the exam, I guess. uh, yeah, for me, basically, it took me 1.5 to 2 months. When after I laid out a plan, okay, 1 week I'm going to tackle one knowledge area, second week I want to tackle another knowledge area, and so on. And I knew that I didn't want to give my exam right after I read the BABOK guide and I know what it is. I kind of wanted to be perfect through it, because I'm not doing it just for my exam. I kind of wanted to get all the knowledge, because this is the highest level of education or the certification, and I wanted to learn every single thing that's in the BABOK guide and try to implement it in my organization to bring value. So
Right.
I went through that route. I didn't just study it because I have to pass the exam, but I kind of absorbed all the knowledge. I took notes. I kept two different books, one for preparation and one for like writing down any points that I thought were very important for like real life experience and where we can implement that in the real world. So I did. I kind of segregated into two different things and did it at the same time. But yeah, to answer it short,
Nice.
yeah, 1.5 to 2 months.
Nice, but that is quite insightful because as you were taking us through your preparation, you gave us some nice insights, some nice tricks, so to say, to for the aspirants to figure out what they should be doing, how they can approach the certification preparation and everything. So now let me take you back to when you took up the examination, the day of the examination, so to say. What was your mental situation or mental preparation on that particular day?
On that particular day, to be frank, I was freaking out. But that's kind of common, I guess. But I knew I wanted to take my exam in the morning and not in the afternoon, and I didn't want to linger it too long. So all my mental preparation was done the day before the exam. So I knew that okay, tomorrow is my exam. I need to be prepared. I'm confident with everything, and I on the just a couple of days before the exam, I wrote down what my weakest areas and where I needed improvement, and I did that 2 days before the exam. But on the day of exam, that morning, I just went through the inputs and outputs, really basic information that I may want to revise once again. And one thing I practiced before my exam, like an hour before my exam, is that I took a pen and a paper, and on the exam day, I think they allow like 2 blank papers. So I had a couple of extra blank papers just for my revision before the exam, and I took 10 minutes, just put a timer on my phone, and I wrote down everything, like the inputs and outputs. And this was a tip given by my instructor from from the training class, that we we can ask for 10 minutes before the exam to the I don't know who they call that. I cannot remember the person who monitors us throughout the exam.
Invigilator.
Yeah, invigilator. Yes, thank you. So I was told that they will provide maybe like 10 minutes or so for a brain dump. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I kind of practiced that on the exam day, like a few minutes before, just to wrote down all my inputs and outputs. And I knew that I was able to do that in 10 minutes, and we can practice that before the exam as well. But that's kind of what I did. And I'll also, my mental preparation was, okay, I can do this. And I was trying to, I was confident, but again, I was trying to subside my nervousness by being, more confident. So yeah, that, and I prepared everything for my exam. Again, I most of the preparation I've done the day before, because that morning I think I had my exam around 9:30 or so. So it was kind of like after I wake up, I knew that I just had to get everything ready. So I didn't want to be rushed, and I did everything before the exam. So clearing out the space for where I'm taking the exam, and mentally preparing everything that I knew. I took like I and again, hydration and sleep is really important. I know this is like way out of the topic, but that is really important before the exam day, even for the mental preparation, to be confident and to be um, trying to remember what you've studied, or even like trying to apply the concepts. I think sleep and being calm is very important on the day of exam. I'm the person that can freak out a lot during the exam and forget everything, but staying calm really helped me. Like I've gained that over the years, and I think that's very important, to stay calm after you have done your preparation and be confident to apply all the knowledge and skills that you've used in the exam, because this is a competency-based exam. It's not a knowledge-based exam.
Right, right. So, thanks for the insight, and you have given some great tips and tricks for the aspirants as well, while you were taking us through how you prepared and what was your situation like on the exam day. Apart from that, anything else that you would like to give as a tip or trick for the aspirants, from a preparation standpoint or from a approach standpoint? Anything that comes to your mind apart from what you have already shared?
Sure. So one other thing is that mock tests are very, very important. So once I would tell the aspirants that once they've gone through the BABOK guide, maybe once or twice, if they feel confident at one point, take an exam, even if it's 1 month before your actual exam. Take a mock test and see where you stand. Depending on that, we can, like, improve. If we stand below 50% or so, we know that there's more preparation to be done, so we may have to go through the BABOK guide once again, connect all the dots, and go through the concepts again. But I would say take a lot of mock tests, and last week or a few weeks before the exam, take another one. And there are full length simulation tests through a lot of companies like Techcanvass. Watermark Learning was another one that I took. And trying to remember, I think Adaptive Learning or something was another one I took. So I took full length tests as well, just before my exam. Uh, like 1 week before my exam, to see where I stand and what my weakest areas are and what my strongest areas are. So and chapter wise is also really good. So Techcanvass also has like chapter wise exams, so where you can read one chapter and then take exam pertaining to that chapter and see where you stand. So I did chapter wise exams first. Once I finished one chapter as in one knowledge area, so each knowledge area I took an exam, and then I saw where I stood, and then continued with the other ones. And if I scored below 70%, 70 to 75% was my target for each and every knowledge area mock test. And if I scored lesser than that, I would go back through the entire knowledge area again and make sure I scored more than 75%. So I did that first, and then like I said, studying or doing a lot of mock tests through different companies and different, because at that point you're like ready with any question that they provide. Like with each of these companies that I was talking about, Techcanvass, the mock tests were actually kind of harder than the actual exam test, because I think they're set in a certain way that it prepares the aspirants for the worst. So on the exam day, you don't feel that these questions are tougher. You feel like, okay, this is an easy exam, I can take it. So that's kind of what I felt as well, like looking at the exam. Yeah, that's what I felt. And another thing is that please expect a lot of case studies. I saw a lot of YouTube videos like this, like, you know, the aspirant, like interviews who have interviews of people who have passed the exam and everything. Those really helped me as well, because I knew what to expect in the exam, and my instructor also gave me a lot of tips and tricks and how what to expect in the exam. And if we were studying any chapter, he would say that, okay, this is an important knowledge area to remember, or an important concept to remember. So that really helped me. And yeah, and on the exam day, please expect a lot of case studies. And CBAP exams are set in such a way that they would trick your brain and have a lot of case studies in the beginning of the exam rather than like later. Because the first few, I got like I think it was 7 to 8 case studies in the beginning, with 5 questions each. So I was, and I knew that this was particularly to trick our brain. So if I didn't know anything, I didn't want to spend more than 1 minute on a question. And this is very important. Time management during the exam is important. So please make sure to, like, you know, not spend or linger too much on one question, and just skip and move on. You can bookmark that question and come back to it. So that's kind of a, yeah, that's a very good feature that they have. So what I did was, if I don't know a question, or if it required math calculations, I just skipped ahead and answered all the straightforward, or even not straightforward, but scenario based questions and things like that first. And then I came back to the case studies to answer them. So time management is important. I've heard people, you know, pass or give their exam within 1 hour and or 1.5 hour, but it took me the entire time. Like I worked through almost the last minute. So you know, it just depends, but that was the way I did it, because I wanted to make sure I was answering everything correct. So I went back and reviewed each and every question that I answered. So that's another tip. Once you're done with the exam and you have time left, please don't feel like you I mean, I would suggest going back and reviewing questions that you are not sure of, or even to see if you answered it in the you know, same correctly or not. Because some questions, when I answered first, I felt like, yes, this is the right answer, but then when I came back and reviewed, I was like, what was I thinking on this, you know? So I had to change my answer. So it's kind of
Right.
like it tricks your brain. They have two correct options, like two options seem correct, but only one of the option is correct, right? So it took me a while to, you know, to get that to that state. And I noticed that when I didn't linger on a question and I came back to it later, I was able to answer it faster. So
Right,
yeah.
right. I mean, while you were talking about this, the whole exam day, my own exam day passed through my eyes. You know what I did? I remember these kind of questions wherein you read the first line, you think of a particular knowledge area. You come to the next line, you think another knowledge area. You come to the next line, another knowledge area. You read the whole question, it is a completely different knowledge area.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah, this kind of thing happens. And yeah, you know, whenever you are taking up the exam, it is important for you to apply the knowledge that you have learned, that you have gained, that you have acquired, rather than just mugging up the, you know, possible scenarios, possible questions and their answers. So that definitely helps a lot in the scenario-based questions,
Yeah, and
right?
that's a great point, Sudeep. So that's what I kind of expected as well, looking at all the YouTube videos that are out there on YouTube. But that was one of the main confusion as to, like, which knowledge area does this question belong to. They can have, like you said, two or three multiple knowledge areas in that same question, and you're confused as to what they're asking. But I think the last line is so important.
Yeah,
The gist of the question lays in the last line. So
right,
I
right.
that's it's better to read it more than once.
Right. That's very true. That's very true. So, you know, Janvi, let me ask you this. Now that you have completed CBAP certification, you know, what changes has it brought, you know, to your professional career? Have you made any changes in your career after the certification?
Yes, it immensely helped me through establishing processes and also following the existing ones or improving the existing ones. Like I said, I manage my BA team here, but we all of our team, we are trying to get certified at each level. The business analysts are, some are doing CCBA because if they don't have that level of experience for a CBAP and things like that. But it has immensely helped us to put our knowledge into the real life and real world experience. So the business process reengineering and some concepts, like a lot of concepts in BABOK guide, some of them are theoretical. I know that it cannot be implemented in the real world, but a lot of them can be, and it's great to have that knowledge. And we have seen significant changes in our process improvements after we have gone through the BABOK guides and given our exams, and now that we are certified professionals, we can implement those processes and see success in our organization.
Right, right. That's very true. That's very true. Once you have this kind of a certification under your belt, it really improves your confidence. At the same time, it really opens your world to the actual practices and theories and case studies, so that you can actually implement it in your day-to-day professional life and get the benefit out of it.
That's
so
right.
Having said that, has CBAP certification added any value? You have already mentioned that it has made you and your team more confident. You are able to have a better grasp on your business, on your process reengineering. So apart from that, any other things that you would like to mention about?
I think as an individual too, I feel more confident now that I'm certified through IIBA and I have this recognized certification on my resume and even to speak about. As an individual, like I said, I feel very confident about performing my duties. I was confident before, but this is like an added experience. It's just a different feeling to be certified and have that respect and recognition in the company.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. So, Jahnavi, thank you. Thank you very much for taking your time and talking to us today. Before I let you go, let me wish you all the very best in your future endeavors and, keep growing in your career. Thank you. Thanks, Jahnavi.
Thank you very much. And best of luck to all the aspirants out there. And I hope you get your CBAP certification done successfully. And yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment in the comment box and we can try to answer it if we can. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Jahnavi.